Chapter 17, Misfortunes in Madrid. In early August 1890, dumating si Rizal sa Madrid. Ginawa niya lahat ng legal means para makamit yung justice for his family and the Calamba tenants, but to no avail. And disappointment after disappointment piled on him until he crossed the bore seemed insuperable to carry. He almost fought two duels, one with Antonio Luna and the other with Wenceslao y Rizana. On top of his misfortunes, Leonor Rivera married a British engineer. The infidelity of the girl with whom he was engaged for 11 years broke his heart. With resilient strength of character, he survived the bitter pangs of love's disillusionment and continued his mission to redeem his oppressed people. A failure to get justice for family. And yun na nga, upon arrival in Madrid, Rizal immediately sought the help of the Filipino colony, yung Asociación Hispano-Filipina and the liberal Spanish newspaper, yung La Justicia, El Globo, La Republic, El Resumen, and many others, in securing justice for the oppressed Calamba tenants, including his family, together with Marcelo S. del Pilar, who acted as his lawyer, and Dr. Dominador Gomez, Secretary of the Asociación Hispano-Filipina. He called on the Minister of Colonies, Senor Padre, in order to protest the injustices committed by Governor General Valeriano Weyler and the Dominicans against the Calamba folks. Nothing came out of Rizal's interview with Minister Fabi, as El Resumen, a Madrid newspaper which sympathized with the Filipino cause, said, to cover the cars, open the purse, and fold the arms. This is the Spanish colonial policy. So it was Marcelo S. del Pilar, siya yung tumayong abogado niya habang hiningan din niya ng tulong ang sekretary ng Asosasyon Hispano-Filipina na si Dr. Dominador Gomez at ang Minister of Colonies na si Senyor Padre para sa kanyang pagpoprotesta laban kay Governor General Valeriano Weyler at pati na rin sa mga Dominicans. Okay, so nagkaroon ng ejectment order kasi. Matapos na mabal nitong balitaan niya mula sa kanyang brother-in-law na nakatanggap ang kanilang ama na si Francisco Rizal ng ejectment order mula sa mga Dominicans. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay gustong i-recover ng mga Dominicans ang mga lupain na pinangangalagaan ng kanilang pamilya, maging ang lupang kinatitirikan ng kanilang bahay. Kaya naman ang kanyang mga magulang ay walang nagawa kundi umalis sa kanilang tahanan at makitira sa asawa ni Narcisa na si Antonio. Mula naman sa kanyang kapatid na si Saturnina, napag-alaman niyang pinatapon sa Mindoro ang kanyang kapatid na si Pasiano at ang ilan sa kanyang mga kamag-anak katulad ni na Antonio Lopez, Silvestre Ubaldo, Teong at Dandoy noong September 6, 1890. So dahil sa patong-patong na problema na ito, humingi rin siya ng tulong sa mga liberal Spanish statesman na dating kabilang sa ministry, pero wala rin itong ibang naibigay kundi pakikisimpatya. Sa kabilang banda, in-encourage ni Blumentritt si Rizal na makipagkita kay Queen Regent Maria Cristina na siyang ruler ng Spain noong panahon na iyon. Pero walang maisip si Rizal na paraan para magawa ito dahil hindi naman siya ganoong ka-impluensyang tao para makalapit sa reyna at wala rin siyang sapat na pera para pagtuunan ng pansin ang mga taong nakapaglalapit sa kanya rito. Bukod sa mga balitang natanggap ni Rizal mula sa Calamba ay napag-alaman din na niyang namatay ang kanyang kasamahan sa propaganda movement dahil sa isang karamdaman noong August 19, 1890. Mula dito ay sumulat siya ng isang eulogy o parangal para sa kanyang yumaong kaibigan. Okay, so towards the end of August 1890, Rizal attended the social reunion of the Filipinos in Madrid. As was customary in these weekly reunions of the paisanos, nagiinuman sila. So after drinking so many glasses, the guests became more loquacious. Medyo naging matabil na ang kanilang mga dila. And of course, the conversations flowed freely. One of them ay si Antonio Luna na nalasing. At that time, Luna was bitter, no? Because of this frustrated romance with Nelly Busted. Deep in his heart, he was blaming Rizal. So sinisisi niya si Rizal for his failure to win her. Although sinabi naman ni Rizal na he had nothing to do about it. So because of jealousy, which his alcohol-befogged mind could not control, Luna uttered certain unsavory remarks about Nelly. So Rizal heard him. So alam naman natin si Rizal, mayroon siyang high sense of chivalry. Hindi niya kayang itolerate yung ganong slur comment against the honor of any woman. So nagalit si Jose Rizal, ano? So kaya ang ginawa niya, challenge niya si Luna and Rizal sa isang duel, ano? So si Rizal ay magaling sa pistol shot o sa pistola o sa baril than Luna, pero si Luna naman ay mas magaling as a swordsman. Si Luna, dahil siya yung challenge party, had the choice of weapons. Logically, he would have to choose the sword. In which case, Rizal's life would be in jeopardy. Ano? Mga nganib ang buhay ni Rizal. So, yung mga Pilipinong kasama nila ay they were shocked by the incident. So, they tried to pacify Rizal and Luna, pointing out to both that such a duel would damage their cause in Spain. Fortunately, medyo natauhan din si Juan Luna at na-realize niya na talagang mali yung kanyang ginawa. Ano? So, ang ginawa niya, nag-apologize siya dun sa kanyang bad remark about the girl. And of course, Rizal immediately accepted this apology and the two became good friends again. Okay, Rizal challenges Ritana to a duel. Okay. So Rizal was by nature hindi naman siya mainitan ng ulo, no? But when the honor of his people, yung lalo-lalo na yung pamilya niya, mga kababaihan or mga kaibigan niya ay sinisiraan, he never hesitated to fight even if he were risking his own life. On another occasion, he challenged another man to a duel, no? Ito ay si Wenceslao Ritana, his bitter enemy of the pen. No? Kalaban niya to sa panulat Isa itong magaling na Spanish scholar. And he was then a press agent of the friars in Spain. So lagi niyang inaatake ang mga Pilipinos, including si Rizal, in various newspapers in Madrid and other cities in Spain. One day, he imprudently wrote an article in La Epoca, no? Isa itong anti-Filipino newspaper in Madrid, asserting that the family and friends of Rizal had not paid their rents, so that they were ejected from their lands in Calamba by the Dominicans. So na-insulto si Rizal dito, ano? And immediately, he sent his seconds to Ritana with his challenge to a duel. Ano? Challenge niya kaagad na sa duelo itong si Ritana. Only Ritana's blood or his apology could vindicate the good name of Rizal's family and friends. because he believed that discretion is the better part of valor, and more so to save his own skin. Ritana all at once published a retraction, and an apology in the newspaper. Alam kasi ni Ritana, hindi siya obra sa duelo kay Rizal. Kaya nag-apology siya kaagad. So, winarmingan siya ng kanyang mga kaibigan na wala siyang ka-chance whatsoever against Rizal on the field of honor. For alam nila, Rizal was his superior in both pistol and sword. So the incident silenced Ritana's men against Rizal. He developed a great admiration for the latter, and years afterward, he wrote the first book-length biography of the greatest Filipino hero, whose talents he came to recognize and whose martyrdom he glorified. So later on, naging magkaibigan din sila. At ito pa nga si Ritana ang sumulat ng kanyang biography. Okay. Infidelity of Leonor Rivera. So, in the autumn of 1890, Rizal was feeling better at so many Rizal was feeling bitter at so many disappointments he encountered in Madrid. So, isang gabi, he and some friends attended a play at Teatro Apollo para makapag-alis ng stress. And there, naiwala niya yung gold watch chain na may locket containing the picture of Leonor Rivera. Okay? So, yung pagkawala ng locket na to proved to be a bad omen. Kasi early in December 1890, with the cold winds of winter sweeping across the city, naka-receive ng isang letter si Rizal from Leonor announcing her coming marriage to an Englishman. Of course, this is the choice of her mother. Parang ipinagkasundo itong si Leonor Rivera. And of course, humihingi ng kapatawaran itong si Leonor. So this letter was a great blow to him. He was stunned. His eyes dimmed with tears, and of course, his heart broke. Rizal and Del Pilar's rivalry. So toward the closing days of 1890, then there arose an unfortunate rivalry between Rizal and Del Pilar. For supremacy ito. Rizal, of course, is the most talented Filipino of his time, was until then the undisputed leader of the Filipinos in Europe. On the other hand, ito naman si Del Pilar, isang fearless lawyer at isa ring journalist, was gaining prestige in Madrid for his vigorous editorials in La Solidaridad, which he came to own. He had purchased this fortnightly periodical from Pablo Rianzares. Ito yung unang owner ng La Solidaridad na newspaper. And pinalitan niya si Graciano Lopez Haina as its editor dahil nabili na nga niya. So as leader, Rizal tried to imbue his compatriots with his own idealism, for he believed that to gain prestige for the propaganda movement and to win the respect of the Spanish people, they must possess high standards of morality, as well as dignity and spirit of sacrifice. Unfortunately, his idealism was not shared by a certain frivolous countrymen na ang gusto nga lang ay mag-inuman, mambabae at magsugal. And consequently, Rizal's leadership declined. Kasi some of his former admirers who supported his leadership turned against him because they resented his interference in their private lives. They became supporters of Del Pilar. So the editorial policy of La Solidaridad under Del Pilar's management enhanced the cleavage between Rizal and Del Pilar. Rizal and his close friends objected to the periodical's editorial, policy which was occasionally contrary to Rizal's political views. So para maiwasan yung breakup between Rizal and Del Pilar, yung mga Pilipino sa Madrid, numbering about 90, ay nagpulong noong January 1. Ano? New Year's Day yon. January 1, 1891. No? So to patch up their differences, para pagkasunduin sila, and of course, para i-intensify yung campaign for reform. And napagdesisyonan doon sa meeting na yon that a leader which will be called responsable be chosen to direct the affairs of the Filipino community and to determine the editorial policy of La Solidaridad. Del Pilar, of course, opposed the proposition that the periodical be placed under the control of the responsable, on the ground that it was a private enterprise. Hindi pumayag siyempre si Del Pilar dahil pag-aari niya yung La Solidaridad, di ba? So, however, he was willing to publish articles that would express the aspiration and demands of the Filipino people. So, dahil sa opposition na to ni Del Pilar, the proposition to place La Solidaridad under the control of the responsable was abandoned. So, nagpatuloy yung meeting to the business of electing the responsable. So, it was agreed that the responsable should be elected by a 2/3 vote of the Filipino community. Okay, Rizal abdicates his leadership. Okay, so the election took place during the first week of February 1891. The Filipinos were divided into two hostile camps. So yung isa ay Rizalistas at yung isa naman ay Pilaristas. Passion ran high, inflaming animosity, and of course nagkaroon ng disunity sa ranks ng mga compatriots. And from the very beginning, on the first day of the voting, nananalo si Rizal. But hindi niya ma-obtain yung required 2/3 vote para ma-proclaim siyang responsable. On the second day of balloting, the result was again indecisive. Rizal won, but the votes cast for him did not reach the required 2/3. So the situation was becoming explosive and critical. Finally, noong pangatlong araw, si Mariano Ponce appealed to his countrymen na sabi nila to vote for Rizal. Sabi niya, iboto na natin si Rizal. So some Pilaristas, of course, ay evidently ay heeded his plea for the voting that day, which resulted in Rizal's victory. Pumayag yung ibang Pilarista, lumipat na kay Rizal. Having obtained the necessary 2/3 vote, he became the responsable, but Rizal graciously declined the coveted position. Kilala naman natin si Rizal na isang man of honor and dignity with high sense of delicadeza, which many politicians in all countries and of course in all ages seldom possess. So he did not release being a leader of a divided people. Alam niya na may mga compatriots siya na sumusuporta pa rin kay Del Pilar at nagagalit sa kanya. So, he preferred to abdicate his leadership. Ibig sabihin, ayaw niya, hindi na tinanggap yung pagkapanalo niya. Rather than the cause of, kasi magiging cause lang ito ng di pagkakasundo, di ba? Tsaka ng bitterness among his countrymen. So, yun ang nangyari. So, he abdicated his leadership. Okay, yung position niya as responsable. Okay, so later on, so umalis na si Rizal sa Madrid. So sumulat siya ng isang brief note thanking his compatriots for electing him as responsable. Sadly, he packed up his bag, paid his bills, and boarded the train, leaving for Biarritz. So habang papaalis yung train niya, pinagmasdan niya muli yung city of Madrid, kung saan ay naging masaya siya nung unang pagdating niya rito. noong 1882 hanggang 1885, pero noong pagbalik niya uli, yung second visit niya ay naging unhappy naman siya. And of course, it was the last time he will saw Madrid again. Okay. So to seek solace for his disappointments in Madrid, Rizal took a vacation in the resort city of Biarritz on the fabulous French Riviera. Naging guest siya ng mga Bosted family in its winter residence. Ito yung Villa Eliada. He had befriended Mr. Eduardo Bosted and his wife, and of course may dalawa tong daughter, si Adelina at saka si Nelly. So he used to fence with the Bosted sisters doon sa studio ni Juan Luna, and of course to attend parties at the Bosted Parisian home. So it was in Biarritz where he had a serious romance with Nelly and finished the last chapter of his second novel. Okay, so chapter 18 na to, no? Biarritz Vacation and Romance with Nelly Bosted. So when Rizal arrived in Biarritz at the beginning of February, he was warmly welcomed by the Bosteds, particularly si Mr. Bosted, nagustuhan si Rizal dahil siya dahil sa kanyang mga talento, no? And as a family guest, he was treated with friendliness and hospitality by Mrs. Bosted, si Adelina, si Nelly, at saka yung auntie nila na si Aunt Isabel. Okay. So yung 1-month vacation in Biarritz worked wonders for Rizal. So ibig sabihin parang malaki ang nagbago. Yung stress ni Rizal, yung kalungkutan niya ay biglang nawala. During the 1-month vacation in Biarritz. Yung mga scenic beaches, magagandang beaches filled with tourists from all parts of the world, yung refreshing breezes of the Atlantic Ocean, at saka yung festive atmosphere of the city cheered his despondent spirit and made him forget yung mga bitter memories niya nung namula sa Madrid. His sorrowing heart began to sing once more with joy, and his health improved with remarkable sweetness. Writing from Biarritz to Mariano Ponce on February 11, 1891, sinabi niya, tumaba na ako since I arrived here. Yung aking pisngi ay hindi na humpak, or hindi na ito shrunken as before. So the reason that I go to bed early and I have no cares. Okay. Okay, romance with Nelly Bosted. Okay, so Biarritz with its romantic garden, delightful villas, mga panoramic beauties, is an ideal setting for romance. So on an emotional rebound, Rizal, having lost his beloved Leonor, came to entertain considerable affection for Nelly. Na-inlove siya kay Nelly. Dahil of course, kailangan niya ng makalimutan si Leonor Rivera. Okay, si Nelly, siya yung pinakamagandang daughter ni Mr. Bosted. So he found her to be a real Filipina, highly intelligent, vivacious in temperament, and morally upright. So sumulat siya sa kanyang mga kaibigan, except Professor Blumentritt, tungkol doon sa pag-ibig niya kay Nelly. So hindi pala niya pinaalam ito kay Professor Blumentritt. Okay. yung kanyang intention to propose marriage to her. Okay? So, with the encouragement of his close friends, Rizal courted Nelly. Niligawan niya si Nelly. In turn, reciprocated his affection. Sinagot siya ni Nelly kaagad. Unfortunately, itong romance na to, beneath the lovely Biarritz moon, did not have a happy fairy tale. Kasi yung marriage proposal ni Rizal failed for two reasons. Unang-una, gusto kasi nung pamilya ni Nelly na i-give up niya yung Catholic faith niya at maging mag-convert siya sa Protestantism. Yun din ang demand ni Nelly sa kanya. At pangalawa, yung mother ni Nelly did not like Rizal as a son-in-law. Okay. So, again, na-prostrate na naman si Rizal. Okay, so, oops. God bless. So, Rizal found consolation in writing. Evidently, while wooing Nelly and enjoying so many magnificent moonlight nights with her, he kept working on the second novel, which he began to write in Calamba noong pang 1887. And then, noong March 29, 1891, ito yung gabi ng pag-alis niya sa Biarritz papuntang Paris, ay natapos niya yung manuscript ng El Filibusterismo. Sumulat siya kay Blumentritt on that date. He said, I have finished my book. I have not written in it my idea of revenge against my enemies, but only what is for the good of those who are suffering. For the rights of the Tagalog race, though brown and may not have good features, surely I will leave tomorrow for Paris. And from there, I don't know where I am going. So, yun. So, as he had written to Blumentritt, Rizal bade very well to the hospitable and friendly Bostets and proceeded to Paris by train. He stayed at the home of his friend Valentin Ventura doon sa number 4 Rue de Chateau-Dame. And from Paris, he wrote to his friend Jose Maria Basa in Hong Kong on April 4, expressing his desire to go to that British colony and practice ophthalmology in order to earn his living. Moreover, in this letter, he requested Basa to advance him the amount for a first-class steamer ticket from Europe to Hong Kong. And by the middle of April 1891, Rizal was back in Brussels, where he was happily received by Suzanne Jacobi. And above all, by Petit Suzanne. Ito yung Belgian girl na gustong-gusto si Rizal. Okay, so since abdicating his leadership in Madrid in January 1891, and also owing to the intrigues of his jealous compatriots, Rizal retired from the propaganda movement. He decided to publish his second novel and also to practice his medical profession. And later, when he became financially independent, he expected to make a more vigorous campaign for his country's redemption. And from Brussels on May 1, 1891, he notified the propaganda authorities in Manila na wag na ipadala yung kanyang monthly allowance at ibigay na lang yung pera to some better cause, katulad ng education ng mga kabataang Pilipino students sa Europe. So his notification was contained in a letter addressed to Mr. Lorena, no? Ito yung pseudonym ni Diodato Arellano. Okay, so Rizal staff writing at okay, simultaneous with his retirement from propaganda movement, Rizal is writing articles for the La Solidaridad. So marami yung mga kaibigan niya in Spain ay sabi sa kanya ituloy niya yung pagsulat doon sa patriotic newspaper na yon because yung mga articles doon niya ay laging nakaka-attract ng considerable attention in European countries. Si Marcelo S. del Pilar himself realized the need for Rizal's collaboration in both the propaganda movement and in La Solidaridad newspaper. Okay, so ito yung sulat ni Marcelo S. del Pilar. Uh, na humihingi siya ng sorry kung ano man yung nagawa niyang kasalanan kay Rizal. At ito naman yung sagot ni Rizal sa kanya. Sabi niya, I am extremely surprised at your letter telling me about resentment, disagreements and reconciliation. So, sabi niya, hindi ako naniniwala na meron tayong hindi pagkakaunawaan. At kung meron man, if it has existed, it ought to have been evaporated in the past. Sabi niya, wala na yon. I think like you do, sabi niya, that there being nothing, one ought not to waste time talking about it. So, wag na nating pag-usapan dahil wala ka namang naging kasalanan sa akin. Yun ang sabi ni Rizal. Okay? So sabi niya, kaya ako huminto sa pagsusulat sa La Solidaridad ay dahil sa mga sumusunod na reasons. And you are already at the top. And I also have, sabi niya, my own ideas. It is better to leave you alone to direct the policies as you understand it and I do not meddle in it. Okay, so parang nag-giveaway siya kay Del Pilar para hindi na magkahiwa-hiwala yung mga tao doon sa Europe, yung mga Pilipino. Okay, so yun yung sagot ni Rizal. So yun na nga, ito na yung mga reasons why Rizal stopped writing for La Solidaridad. So Rizal need time to work on his book. Yung sinusulat nga niya na El Filibusterismo. And also, he wanted other Filipinos to work also. He considered very that there be unity in the work. Okay. Okay, so ito yung medyo mahabang sulat niya, Ayun lang naman ang sinasabi niya. Okay, however, there are two advantages. So, ang unang advantage is of course it leaves both of them free, siya at saka si Del Pilar, and also it increases Del Pilar's prestige and okay. So in Brussels, Rizal worked day after day revising the finished manuscript of El Filibusterismo and readied it for printing. Apparently, the revision was mostly completed on May 30, 1891. On this date, sumulat siya kay Jose Maria Basa. Sabi niya, yung novela ko is now ready to go to press. Pwede na naman na-finish na raw niya. So the first 20 chapters are already corrected and can be printed. And I am recopying the rest, sabi niya. Kung makakatanggap ako ng pera na magmumula sa'yo, maaaring na itong maimprenta by July. So I am writing it with more ardor than the lowly and although it is not so cheerful, at least it is more profound and more perfect in ease. And then, in case, sabi niya, I do not receive money, will you ask them to send me money for the printing of my book? If not, sabi niya, I will be leaving this place and be with you. Okay, so ito yung sulat niya uh, kay Jose Maria Basa. So parang nangihiram siya ng pera para ma-publish yung kanyang El Filibusterismo. Okay, humihingi siya ng tulong actually. Okay, so chapter 19 na tayo, El Filibusterismo, published in Gent. Okay, so on October 1887, when Rizal had begun writing El Filibusterismo while practicing medicine in Calamba. So, ibig sabihin sa Calamba pa lang ay inumpisahan na niya itong El Filibusterismo. So, may mga changes siyang ginawa rito sa plot, and of course, kinorek niya yung ibang chapters na naisulat na niya. Okay, so on March 29, he corrected some chapters already written, and when he finished writing the novel, okay, ay nagpunta na siya sa Gent. Okay, so dito mapapublish yung El Filibusterismo sa Gent. So his reason for moving to Gent ay dahil daw yung cost ng printing sa Gent ay mas mura kaysa sa Brussels. And also para matakasan na rin niya yung enticing attraction ni Petite Suzanne, Okay, so kasi in love sa kanya si Suzanne, hindi naman niya pwedeng seryosohin ito dahil meron nga siyang misyon, Okay, so yun yung mga reasons niya kung bakit umalis siya ng Brussels at nagpunta siya ng Gent. Okay, so in Gent, may nakilala siyang dalawang kababayan. Ito ay sila Jose Alejandro at saka si Edelberto Evangelista. Sila ay mga engineering student sa University of Gent. Okay, the printing of El Filibusterismo. So, yung F. Meyer van Loo Press, okay, ito yung printing shop na who was willing to print Rizal's book on installment basis. Okay. Ito yung pinakamurang printing press na nakita ni Rizal doon sa Gent. Okay, so okay, so Ventura, the savior of the Philly. So yung hinihingi niyang pera na tulong kay Basa ay hindi nakarating. Kaya parang gano'n na rin ang nangyari doon sa kanyang No Limit Tangere. Nawalan na rin siya ng parang nawalan siya ng ng pag-asa na mapublish pa yung El Filibusterismo. Okay. So buti na lang at dumating si Valentin Ventura at yon ang nagpahiram sa kanya ng malaking halaga para ma-imprenta ang kanyang nobela na El Filibusterismo. And finally, on September 18, 1891, El Filibusterismo came off the press. Okay, and then nung lumabas na ito, meron ng nalimbag, pinadala niya kaagad yung kanyang mga kaibigan sa Europe, katulad nila Basa, sila Sixto Lopez, and of course si Valentin Ventura. Pinadalan din niya si Ferdinand Blumentritt at saka si Mariano Ponce ng kopya ng kanyang nobela. Okay. Okay, sila Graciano Lopez Haina, sila sila Pardo de Tavera, si Antonio Luna, at saka si Juan Luna ay binigyan din niya ng kopya. Okay, so the manuscript, synopsis ng El Filibusterismo. So, hindi na natin didiscuss ito dahil ito naman ay malamang ay nabasa nyo na. No? Okay, so later on ay magbibigay ako ng assignment sa inyo. You are going to write a synopsis of the El Filibusterismo in your own words. Bawal kumopya sa internet. Okay? Okay, next. Okay, so Noli and Fili compared. So pinag-compare ito ni marami nagko-compare doon sa Fili at sa Noli. May mga nagsasabi na mas maganda raw yung Noli kaysa sa Fili. Ano? Okay, so yung Noli kasi isa tong romantic novel, no? Kumbaga sa it is a work of the heart. Isang book of feeling, emotion, may humor, may lightness, may wit. Whereas yung Fili naman isang political novel. It is a work of the head, sabi nila. A book of thought. So dito sa Fili may mga bitterness, may hatred, may pain, may violence, and of course may kalungkutan, may sorrow. Okay, so the original intention of Rizal was to make the Fili longer than the Noli. As printed, however, it is shorter than the Noli. It contains 38 chapters lang, whereas yung Noli Me Tangere ay 64 chapters. So Rizal had to cut the Fili drastically, owing to the lack of funds. Okay. So may nagsasabi naman na El Filibusterismo is a novel superior than Noli Me Tangere. Yun ay sabi ni ni Blumentritt, Okay. Also Rizal have some unfinished novels, yung kanyang third novel ano ba title nito? So ang title nito ay Makamisa. Yes. Yes, Makamisa, a novel in Tagalog. It is written in a light sarcastic style and is incomplete ito for only two chapters lang. The manuscript consists of 20 pages ng 34 by 22 centimeters. Okay, and then another one titled ay Dapitan. So ito ay unfinished din, written in ironic Spanish. Sinulat niya ito nung siya ay nasa Dapitan, nung ma-exile siya ron. Pinapakita niya rito yung mga life and customs ng Dapitan. Okay, the manuscript consists of 8 pages lang. 8 pages lang, umpisa pa lang. And then another novel in Spanish about the life in Pili, Pili Laguna, is also unfinished din ito. The manuscript consists of 147 pages without a title. Among the characters are the following: isang Padre Agatan, isang Spanish friar, Kapitan Panchong, and Kapitana Barang, Cecilia, their pretty daughter, Isagani, lover of Cecilia, Kapitana Crispin. So kung mapapansin natin, paborito niyang topic sa kanyang mga novels ay yung mga friars, yung mga Spanish friars. And then okay, so and then another beginning of another novel are contained in 2 notebooks. Okay, 31 written pages, and the other one have mayroong 12 written pages. Okay, so through the mouth of the celestial chapters, the author described the deplorable conditions of the Philippines Okay, so itong unfinished novel na to was written in Spanish and the style is ironic. Okay, so that ends our discussion. So be prepared for a quiz next meeting. So until then, good night and see you next meeting.